Well, welcome everyone to this episode of Stories for Healing. As you know, this is a program that began at the end of October. Here we find ourselves months later, um, still going strong. And why are we doing this? Well, you know, back in October and even today now, there's a lot of division in the world, a lot of antipathy, so much stress. As storytellers, we have to do something about that. And what do we do but tell stories? Now, we don't tell stories that criticize somebody or say, I'm right and you're wrong, or I'm good and you're bad, but we tell stories of healing, of reconciliation, of growth, or transformation,
Mm.
things that lift us all up, story listener and storyteller alike. And so this is what we do. And today I'm very pleased to be able to introduce Laura Sims to you. Laura Sims has a story for us. So, Laura, please tell us a story.
Thank you, Jim. And I'm so glad to be part of this beautiful endeavor that you've conjured. And I actually have not told this story in many, many years, just kind of left. But when you invited me, I had a dream. And this dream was so beautiful, very simple. I was walking in a field and suddenly I saw an eagle flying. It was a beautiful eagle, and the tips of its wings were white, and the rest was kind of dappled black and white. And I called out, "Look, a white winged eagle." And then the eagle just sort of spread its wings, and I saw it from the back, and its body extended. And it looked like a human being, an eagle dancer with this magnificent eagle feathered cape. And when I woke up, I remembered this story. And then I thought, now this is a story for Jim's Healing Stories. I read it when I worked for the American Museum of Natural History in New York. I was their first storyteller in residence at the People's Center. And this is how I opened the People's Center, with this story that I found in a book that they had in their kind of library behind the library. And it was collected by Knut Rasmussen, who was a great sort of explorer of the old school in the late 1890s. And the first person to actually cross the Bering Strait into Alaska. And he collected stories and had great admiration for the Inuit peoples that he met. As a story about a woman and a man who lived with their three sons all alone. And they didn't see or know of any other people. And as the years went by, there was less and less game, less and less food. And finally, the eldest son, who was a good hunter, trained as the other two sons by their father, said, I'm going to go out. I'm going to find food no matter how long it takes me. And so he journeyed. And at last he came to a vast ocean of ice. And above him, he saw an eagle circling. And so he lifted up his bow and arrow, but he missed. And to his surprise, whoosh, the eagle alighted beside him, was the same height as he was, and said, Don't harm me. If you come with me, my mother will teach you a great gift, and you will not know hunger. He refused. He said, I'm a hunter. I'm not going to go with you. Up went the eagle, swifter than his arrow, and he began walking, got lost, and never went home. Same thing happened to the second son, who said, Well, I'll go look for my brother and I will find food. He too was startled that he didn't kill his prey, and there was the eagle. Same request, he refused. He also got lost. When the youngest son said to his father and mother, "Let me go," they were reluctant. "We don't want to lose you as well." But he insisted, "I will find my brothers. I will bring back food." At last, they agreed. Off he went that same long journey. And there across the ocean of ice, he looked up and he saw an eagle circling. He lifted up his bow and arrow and he missed. And the eagle alighted and said, "Don't harm me. If you come with me and heal my mother, she will give you a great gift. You will not know hunger." He agreed. The eagle said, "That was good. Your two brothers refused." He climbed on the back of the eagle. Up they flew through the sky, beyond the clouds. There was a great mountain, and on the top of the mountain was an old wooden lodge. And he could hear a sound. It was like a drum being played deep in the earth, so soft. When they came right before the door, he climbed off the eagle's back, and the eagle turned into a young, noble man, an eagle warrior wearing the most splendid feathered robe. He took him inside the house, and there in the corner, in the dark, was an old eagle mother. She was frail. Her hands were shaking. And he realized that drum that he heard was the fragile beat of her old, barely beating heart. She said, "I'm glad you've come. I'm going to teach you to make a celebration, and then you'll invite all the people." He said, "Well, I can learn, but we don't know any people." She said, "This is the problem with you human beings. If you knew celebration, there would be a lot of people." She had her son teach him how to make the most elegant ceremonial lodge. She was pleased with it. She had her son teach him how to make a drum, how to spread the skin perfectly, how to make the drumstick, how to listen so attentively that he played beautifully. Then the son taught him songs, taught him dances, how to recite his memories and tell old stories. And then the eagle mother said, "That's good." She said, "Now you go home and you build a ceremonial house, you make a drum, the people will come." The eagle warrior turned back into a bird. He climbed on his back. Down they flew to the same place. He made his way home. His parents were so surprised to see him. And so he built a ceremonial house. He made a drum. He practiced dancing and singing, telling stories, and a lot of people came. And they had a celebration that lasted for days. And finally, one dawn, it was over, and all the people went to the door, and one by one, when they stepped out the door, they turned into animals, and they fled, leaped walking, flying, slithering, rolling, turning. From that time, whenever he went out hunting, there was always just enough food. He always made offerings, sang prayers to the soul of the animal. And they were not lonely. More and more people came. One day he said, I'm going to go see if I can find that eagle warrior and tell him to tell his mother how much I am grateful. He made the journey. He was on the ocean of ice. He saw the eagle flying above him, and the eagle alighted on the ground beside him, just his height. He said, I would like you to thank your mother. And the eagle warrior said, you should come and thank her yourself. Climbed on the eagle's back, off they flew. They went up through the sky, beyond the clouds. There was the mountain, on top was the lodge, but he could hear the beating of a drum so loud, so vibrant. When he went through the door, following the beautiful eagle warrior in his eagle robe of feathers, he saw Eagle Mother. She was young and beautiful. Her heart was beating loudly, heart of the earth beating. He said, thank you. And she said, thank you. I have given you human beings the gift of joy. If you remember, if you know celebration, there will be no hunger. And so it was. He went back. He thanked the eagle. The eagle warrior flew back. And then he was walking home when from two directions he saw his brothers returning. And the three of them went home. And from that time there were many people and many celebrations. And they passed down all the stories and their memories and the songs and how to play the drum. They said, do not forget the gift of joy. That's that story.
Hmm. Oh, thank you so much. What a wonderful story.
I thought you would really like
Yeah. Oh, yes. I notice of all the things that she might have been teaching him,
it. Mm.
um, I was half expecting it would be Thanksgiving that that would be her lesson.
Ah,
Um, and I really appreciate that it was joy. I mean, I think there's a special thing to that. Um,
well, maybe when you really know joy innately, you are grateful. It's
I-
a natural.
Absolutely, and perhaps also the route to joy is through Thanksgiving. Who knows? But I have one thing that occurred to me.
Hmm.
Um, so when the eagle comes back for the third brother, comes down to the third brother. He recognizes him as the third brother. He's not just a random human there. Um, and I wonder if it doesn't say something about his willingness to try a third time with a family who obviously has some challenges. Um, and what what does I wonder what that says about the eagle and why he would approach this unlikely candidate that third time. I know
Well,
this is a
I haven't thought about that. It's such a beautiful question. I always think the story is really not for the people in the story,
hmm
but for us,
hmm
because who else imagines them into being?
right, right,
So there is no one else.
yeah,
And the compassion and generosity of the story is always that the first two don't quite make it, but you just keep going. And
Mhm.
the one less fixed, I'm a hunter, no,
Yeah.
I can't go, I can't do this, blah, 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 blah. That one is the one who receives, that part of us receives the gift and responds. So it's a kind of generosity. Maybe it has to do for me, especially in this healing story that we're doing together here, is that we do make mistakes,
Mhm.
but we should never give up on anyone or give up on ourselves.
Yeah. And I think for each of them, that's in a sense, it's the not giving up, but the willing to continue to be compassionate that shines through there.
And I love at the end that the two brothers appear again.
That they appear.
And
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
that those parts of us, those naughty parts of us, we can take them with us.
And then they'll come around eventually.
They had a long walk.
Indeed. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, folks. So now you see why we have these stories, why we have these story sessions, because we get to hear stories like this and we get to be reminded of compassion and joy and thanksgiving. Um, what a wonderful thing. What a wonderful balm for these times that we live in. To remember joy, to work to remember joy, and to remember to dance and to remember our stories. So take the time, share this story if you liked it with your friends. Visit the same page to see the other stories or go to the YouTube playlist. They're all archived there. But most importantly, remember to visit your friends, however you visit them, and share a little joy. And visit those who are not yet your friends and share a little more joy with them. Till next time, this is Stories for Healing. Thanks.